Hey folks, my name is Louis Herrey, coming to you live from our local gym here in Sweden called Träningskompaniet. Now there's a word for you to practice 10 times if you'd like. So, you may be wondering, what's this guy doing? Well, I'll let you think about it for 1 second. You know, many people when they come to the gym, they get in front of that nice big mirror and they start doing beautiful bicep curls or other isolated muscle movements. And you know, that's all fine and dandy, but the truth is, if you want to be serious about weight training or working out in general, then you have to know this simple truth. We don't train muscles, we train movements. Okay, and this is what I'm doing right now. And you may be asking, so what's so important about training movements? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to tell you right now. Well, there was a movement. So these movement patterns, or basic movements as we call them, they are super important and we need to learn how to master them before we do anything else in our training. Why? Well, it's because we're teaching our body something. I'm talking about our muscles, our joints, our nervous system, to work in perfect unison to create something wonderful, something fantastic that you and I want. And what is that? Well, the answer is obvious, right? We want muscle strength, we want muscle growth, and I'm losing my barbell. And how about this? Fat loss. Nothing promotes fat loss better, or nothing fights fat loss better than basic movements. If you're someone like me, I'm over 50 years old, it's preventing injury. It's helping me to be more mobile, just creating better general health. This is something we all want and need. So I'm really excited to present to you the first video where we're going to go through the basic movements one by one, and we're going to start off by doing the squat. First, let's talk about the very basics. What is a squat and why is it important? Well, you stand like this, you sit down, you come up again. That's the squat. Now, did you notice what an amazing exercise that was? Well, it truly is. It's sometimes called the king of all exercises. Why? Because it's a fantastic full body or basic movement. Sometimes we call these compound movements. Why? Because they involve several of our joints and our muscle groups working together to create a movement. So as you do the squat, you strengthen and increase mobility, for example, in your hips, your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads. But especially, and I like this part, it strengthens and stabilizes this area, the core. This in turn translates into multiple positive things in other aspects of your strength training. So learning how to do the squat is super important and basically the foundation for everything you do in the gym or outside. So let's start from the top, or rather from the bottom, with our feet. You want to have your feet about shoulder width apart with a slight angled out with your toes, maybe 20-30 degrees. Now we all have different anatomies, so elaborate with this a little bit. Maybe you want to widen the stance some to be able to come down more easily and then come up again with good technique. Just don't go crazy. I mean, we're not doing dance pliés or something like that, so we'll save that for another video, or maybe not. So when we talk about our feet, we talk about active feet. We want to have them well planted on the floor, the whole sole of the foot. Having said that, when we come down and then come up again, I'll turn to the side, we want to push through our heels. That means you come straight down and straight up, pushing through your heels. Try that again. Come down and then straight up through the heels. The problem that some people have is that when they come down, they sort of come into this position, leaning forward, and they compromise the whole line, making it really dangerous for them, okay, creating some damage. So you don't want to have that. So again, coming down, pushing straight up through your heels. Let's move on to the knees. When we talk about the knees, this could be a problematic area for some people. The biggest problem perhaps is that when people, they might come down all right, but when they push themselves up, one or two or both knees will cave in like this. They just simply lack the strength. Where? You may think around the knee area, not so. They lack the strength right here. I'm sorry to say. So this is actually the area that strengthens the knee and keeps it stable in the right position. You want to keep your knees straight over your toes as you come down and up. I have a little tip. There's something here that may help you. In certain circles, it's called a booty band. We'll just call it our pink little training band. So what you do is you step into it, and then you wrap it around just above the kneecap, and you get into position. And now you want to do just a regular squat, but again, make sure that the knees go straight over the toes. This band is going to want to push your knees in. What you want to do is push your knees out, which is going to strengthen, this area around here. This is great for, booty work. You may have seen this. Girls like to do these kinds of things. Well, we're not going to do that right now. Just make sure you come down and then resist the resistance of the band. Keep your knees in position, come straight up. And one last thing with the knee, I recommend that when you come down, that you aim for about a 90-degree angle at the knee. And you want to make sure that you have your knees not in front of your toes, but right there as much back as you can, about in the middle of the feet, and then push yourself up. Okay, now I'd like to pull your attention to my hips. That didn't sound good. Anyway, many people, when they look at this movement, because we're bending the knees, many people think that the movement originates in the knees, but no, not really. I want to teach you a phrase. It's called hip hinge. By the way, if you haven't already, get up from your bed or couch and let's do this together. We're going to do another video about hip hinging. That's actually one basic movement that demands its own video. But just for now, learn this phrase, hip hinge. We're hinging a little bit in the hip. So what we're doing is we're having a slight pelvic tilt forward. So we're standing like this and tilting the hips forward like this, forward. And then after that, we're just sitting straight down. We're not pushing our glutes back like this. We're hinging slightly and then sitting straight down. And if we sit straight down, we also want to come straight up again. So what you don't want happening is this, and we're going to practice this together now. We're going to do it the right way and the wrong way. So the right way is hip hinging, coming straight down, pushing through your heels, straight up. Let's practice the wrong way, just so you feel the difference. Okay, hinging, coming down, and then push back your hips like this, and then come up. Do you feel the difference? Let's do it the right way again. Hinging, down, and then straight up, rather than the wrong way, hinging, coming down, and then whoop-see daisy. Here we go. All right, especially dangerous. I'm going to grab my barbell here. I see this a lot in the gym, especially with guys who have heavy weight on. Let's pretend this is really heavy. So they come down, and then it's just too heavy to get this thing up there. And so they push their hips backwards, and look at this position here. Can you imagine what this does to you? You're totally offline, and you're killing your back. So not a good situation at all. So you want to come straight down with your hips and straight up again. So far, so good? I hope so. Let's talk quickly about the upper body. Back, neutral position. Now our spines are different, so this could look different for different persons. Just keep it neutral, no crazy flexion, of course. And especially when you think about the hip hinging, that you don't overarch the lumbar spine in any sense. Just a tiny hinge, and then keeping it neutral, down, and coming up. Chest up. Sometimes I tell my clients, think proud gorilla. You may imagine that you have a string attached to the top of your sternum that pulls you up, that keeps you upright, down, and then coming back up again so you don't tip forward. A good way to practice this also is to bring up let's do this together. Again, arms up, and without falling forward, there's a tendency there, try to keep it completely straight and then pushing away up again. Coming down, keep it straight, open up your chest, and then up again. Arms, you can do whatever you want with your arms, I don't care. Personally, I like to, when I come down, I put them up in a little praying position. I tend to feel that helps in life sometimes, but whatever you want. If you feel like you want to have your arms straight out like this as you come down, coming up, that's fine too, of course. Any way you'd like. Face, just straight forward. Don't go bopping up and down at all. Just keep it focused, straight forward as you go down and up. Last point, breathing. Now listen to this. This is very important. Do you remember when I talked about core stability and strength? Well, that is when this comes in. So the thing is, let's say we're doing regular air squats. So we're breathing in as we come down, breathing out as we come up. Not a problem, right? Well, you do something in between. As you breathe in, and by the way, you breathe with your stomach, not with your chest. So breathe in. Here at the bottom position, you want to go, well, you don't have to say but inside you should go, because you're supposed to gather all the pressure that you can, as much air as possible, and then gather that pressure there. You hold your breath, and I'm losing my breath now almost, so you're pushing your way up, and not until you're coming almost all the way up, you let the air out. So the thing about core stability here, it's just super important. We may not realize, we could do our little thing here, but the thing is, everything in this movement is stabilized by our core. So this needs to be strong and stable, and we do that through our breathing and activating our core. And that, folks, is the movement. All right, let's get on our feet again. Let's repeat these different steps together, lest we forget. All right, shoulder width apart with our feet slightly angled out, knees coming down straight over our toes, and not over our toes, but a little bit behind. All right, we're hinging in the hips, sitting straight down, and then coming straight up. Also, our back, neutral position. We open up our chest, face forward, arms in any position that you'd like to. Maybe you want to have some dumbbells in your hand as you perform this movement. Coming up and down, that's a great idea. What else? Breathing, yes, of course. When we go down, we breathe in, activate our core, which is not just the rectus abdominis, it's the whole package around here, both front, back, above and below. You pressurize it like a balloon, and then breathing out as you come up. Okay, now we've gone through the explanations and giving you the different steps. Let's just go through it in real time, or normal time as I would do them. Let's get on our feet. Let's do these together. Let's do about 20 seconds worth of these, okay? Are you ready? Get into position. Come down. Come up. All right. Looking good. You want to breathe in as you go down, and then breathe out as you come up. Breathe in, breathe out. And I forgot to mention something to you. Actually, when you come up, you want to make sure that you activate your glutes and your hamstrings. Just contract those when you come up, so you get a really good squeeze and get more out of this movement. Okay, are you about ready? Are you smiling? Because you got to smile when you do these, otherwise it's no good. Last one. Perfect. All right. I want you to know again that this is a fantastic basic movement, and there are no shortcuts. You just got to practice and practice until it becomes perfect. If you're still struggling a little bit, there are some things you can do. For example, you can grab a chair or a bench, something behind you, and just sit down. Practice sitting down and standing up again. But hey, you don't want to rest when you're sitting. Just touch that bench slightly with your booty and then come straight up again. You can also use, for example, TRX bands for support. I personally find those really helpful. And then when you start to master this exercise, you want to think about progression. You want to do something more with this movement. For example, I mentioned you can grab some dumbbells in your hand as you do the squat. You can do something here that I show you called the goblet squat, which really is a fantastic variation of the squat. And then moving up to the Smith machine, which is a very stable squat machine that stabilizes your body. But where you want to go eventually is to master the regular barbell squat, where you have to stabilize your own body. And then, of course, beyond, there are many exciting exercises you can do with the squat. But those are some things we'll talk about in future videos, I promise. For now, thanks for joining in today. I really enjoyed making this video together with you. I hope it was helpful. I hope it serves as some sort of base for future progression and joy in your workouts, because I really want to help. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And please also like, subscribe, and share these films so they can help other people as well. More power to you. Bye.